The call comes in at 11:47 p.m. Your biggest LP, the one who wrote the check that built your fourth fund, is on the line and his voice is flat. "We are pulling $50 million, he says, effective this quarter. You are 50 years old. You are the managing partner of a $500 million venture fund. And right now, sitting alone in your office with the city lights bleeding through the glass, you realize you don't actually control any of it. This is level 7. But let's go back to level 1, because there are 7 levels between a kid with a spreadsheet and a man who just lost $50 million in a single phone call, and less than 0.5% of everyone who starts this climb ever reaches the top. Let's build it, level by level. Level 1. Venture Capital Analyst. Age 23. Salary $65,000 a year in a city where rent alone eats $2,000 of it monthly. You didn't get here through some golden ticket. You got here answering 400 cold emails and finally getting one reply. Your job title sounds glamorous at dinner parties. Your actual job is data. You build financial models until 3 in the morning, sitting in a windowless room built for 6 analysts, crammed into space meant for 3, fetching coffee for partners who don't know your last name yet. One night, your principal drops a term sheet on your desk at 9 p.m. and says, "I need the comps, the burn rate model, and a competitive teardown by 6 a.m. Nobody remembers the analyst who slept. You don't argue. You don't have leverage to argue. You have a laptop, a Red Bull, and the terrifying awareness that this is a lottery ticket industry, and you are not holding a ticket yet. You're just printing them for someone else. The structural problem at level 1 is invisible equity. You have none. 0 carry, 0 ownership, 100% of the risk of burnout, and none of the upside if the fund's portfolio companies ever exit. You tell yourself it's temporary. Everyone tells themselves that. Level 2. Venture Capital Associate. Age 26. Salary jumps to $110,000 plus a bonus that depends entirely on deals you sourced, deals that might not pay out for 8 years. This is where the travel starts. You're on a plane to Austin Monday, back for a Tuesday partner meeting in San Francisco by Wednesday night. Your best friend gets married in October and you miss it, because a term sheet negotiation runs into the rehearsal dinner. Your mentor, a senior associate 3 years ahead of you, pulls you aside after a pitch meeting collapses. "Sourcing isn't enough anymore," she says. "Everybody sources. You need a scar. You need a deal you lost that you can talk about 5 years from now and make it sound like wisdom." You laugh, but you write it down, because you're starting to understand that in this business, failure isn't hidden, it's inventoried. Every rejection becomes a story you'll tell to justify the next promotion. The personal cost quietly compounds here. You stop calling your parents on Sundays. You tell yourself it's just this quarter. Level 3. Senior Associate, sometimes titled Vice President. Age 29. Salary, $180,000. But now your name is actually on the investment memo, and that is not the promotion it sounds like. It's liability with a nicer job title. You championed a seed deal 18 months ago, a scrappy logistics startup that's now bleeding cash and missing every projection. In the Monday partner meeting, the general partner slides the memo across the table and says, "Your name is on this. That's not a badge. That's a target." You feel the room's temperature change. Nobody else built the model, nobody else did the diligence calls, but you're the one who has to explain, in front of 6 people whose approval decides your entire career, why the founder lied about revenue. This is also the level where relationships quietly end. You've missed 60% of your partner's dinners this year, according to nobody, because nobody's counting except the person sitting across the table from an empty chair. She leaves a note instead of a fight, because a fight requires you being present enough to have one. You read it standing in an airport, boarding a red eye to close a deal that, statistically, has an 80% chance of returning nothing. Level 4. Principal. Age 33. Total compensation around $350,000, base plus a paper promise of carried interest, a slice of profits from a fund that won't fully mature for another 7 to 10 years. On paper, you're rich. In your actual bank account, you're a well-paid employee gambling on a future that depends on companies you don't control. Now you're expected to source your own deals, not just execute someone else's pipeline. You're in your car in a parking lot outside your daughter's school, on a call with a founder in Berlin, when your phone buzzes with a text from your ex. She asked if you're coming to the recital tonight. You look up. Through the windshield, you can see kids walking out in tiny costumes. You're 11 minutes late already, and the founder on the line is finally about to talk numbers. You miss it. You always seem to miss it at exactly the moment the deal gets good. That's the design of the job, not an accident. The fund needs you obsessed, and it rewards obsession with more responsibility, not more time. If you're keeping score of your own life right about now, you might want to hit subscribe, because it only gets heavier from here. Level 5. Partner. Age 38. Annual take-home around $1.2 million between salary, management fee share, and early carry distributions from a fund that finally had an exit. You made partner. You throw the fact around at dinner like it means arrival. It doesn't. Now your name is on the fund's legal documents. You've personally guaranteed obligations you barely understood when you signed them at 1 a.m., exhausted, trusting the general counsel's summary instead of reading all 400 pages yourself. An LP, a pension fund representative twice your age, calls you directly for the first time, bypassing the general partner entirely. I don't call people I don't think will still be here in 5 years, he says. Don't make me regret this call. You realize the compliment is also a threat. Partners don't get fired quietly. They get frozen out of the next fund's carry allocation, which is a much slower, much crueler death. The cost at this level isn't time anymore. You've made your peace with losing time. The cost is trust. You stop fully trusting your co-founders because you've watched 2 of them get pushed out over a fund's underperformance that wasn't even their fault, and you start wondering, quietly, who gets pushed next. Level 6. General Partner. Age 44. You now control decision-making over a $150 million fund, meaning you decide which 60 founders out of 6,000 pitches get a check this year. Founders take your calls at midnight because your signature can change their company's entire trajectory. It feels, for the first time, like power. But raising the next fund is its own brutal interview, one that never ends. You sit across from a sovereign wealth fund allocator in Singapore who has read every single deal memo you've written for a decade. Your Fund 3 returned 2.1x, she says, flat, unimpressed. Fund 4 needs to return 3x, or we're out, and so is everyone who follows our lead. You nod, because you know that number isn't a target. It's a verdict already halfway written. This is the level where your name becomes the brand, whether you wanted that or not. Every article about the fund uses your face. Every failed portfolio company gets attached to your reputation forever. In a search result, any future LP will run before taking your call. You built an empire, and the empire started building you back into whatever shape keeps the capital flowing. Level 7. Managing Partner. Founder of the fund. Age 50. Assets under management. $500 million. This is where we started, remember? The call at 11:47 p.m. Here's what you didn't know when the phone rang. The LP threatening to pull his $50 million had, 3 weeks earlier, taken a meeting with a rival fund's managing partner, a fund twice the size of yours. And that managing partner used to be your analyst, the one you handed a term sheet to at 9 p.m. 15 years ago and told to have the model ready by 6 a.m. He left after 2 years, started his own fund with money you personally introduced him to, and never once mentioned it to you afterward. He didn't need to. The numbers spoke. That's the recontextualization nobody tells you at the top. You didn't build an empire that answers to you. You built a position inside a machine that answers to capital, and capital has no loyalty, no memory, and absolutely no interest in who trained whom 15 years ago. The kid who fetched your coffee is now the reason your biggest LP is walking. There is always someone above you, even when the org chart says you're the top. You hang up the phone at 12:03 a.m. You don't call anyone. There's nobody left in your life at this hour who'd pick up anyway, and that's the actual price tag on the $500 million, not the number itself. The list of people who stopped waiting for your call a long time ago. If you've ever wondered what the latter looks like in a different industry, next episode we're going inside big law, from first-year paralegal pulling all-nighters on document review to managing partner deciding who makes equity partner and who gets quietly pushed out after 8 years of 80-hour weeks. Same climb, different suits, same question waiting at the top. So tell me in the comments, which level already feels like your life right now? And would you still climb, knowing what's waiting at the top?